We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity, the short, fast podcast as it relates to addiction, specifically to anger. And so you've been through the geo test on the personalities on anger and the pain quadrant test. And thanks, Tim, so much for your participation in co-hosting this. We're looking at this one as the amiable personality. And so the lower the energy or the lower the number, the higher the energy. So if you score a 2, 3, or 4 in the lower left, you'd be strong. You'd be a strong, amiable personality. Now, the amiable personality gets angry often, and it's really complicated because they often are angry and don't even know they're angry. So I'm a driver analytic personality. My wife is going to be an amiable analytic personality. And so the amiable personality comes across to most people as being a very nice person. Like they're just nice. Their spouse, maybe their children, maybe not their children, but their spouse will often see a very different side of them, where they can be very, very angry and they can have bitterness. Why? Because they get taken advantage of by other people. The other three personalities can take advantage of them. The analytic, the driver, and the expressive. Why is that? Because the amiable likes to serve the other personalities, and the other personalities like to be served. They take advantage of the amiable likes it. Like, oh, I feel good because I'm a really nice, kind, caring person. And then they do more and they say, well, if they like it, I'll give them more. And eventually the amiable gets ticked and they, really, really upset, about that. It wasn't until just a year ago or so that I realized the reason the amiable gets taken advantage of, another reason the amiable gets taken advantage of, is they take advantage of the other three personalities a lot. They use their niceness, they're charming, they're this. And so they struggle with entitlement. They struggle with self-righteousness, where they think they're better than the other personalities, other people, but they won't say it. They often aren't even aware of it. They're like, that's not true. It's like, okay, whatever. And then they struggle with victimhood, being a victim. Like they get, so they're angry about being a victim, but they put themselves into that. Tim, on the original podcast for anger, you'd brought up the self-realization that, anger is really connected back into entitlement. How does the amiable feel entitled about anger, Tim?
Oftentimes they worship other people in their eyes, and so they oftentimes are doing everything for everybody else, and they're caring so much about what other people have to say. I'm personally working on that on myself, is caring less about what people have to say, so you want to show people that you have this drive, you want to show people that you have this effort. So you're oftentimes doing things their way to try to show them that you have this. And so learning to find your own drive, learning to find the less care for what people have to say, and instead of adhering to them, adhere to yourself, which also adheres to them.
So I think that's really good. I think we always should consider what other people say, and there's 1% of truth, or 90 up to 99% of truth. When somebody says something to us, if we get angry about it, then there's probably more truth than what we realize. So it should be pretty easy when somebody says something to us for us to say, well, that's 1% true. Well, maybe it's more than 1%. Like if we can't say, so the amiable is often, they come across as being very humble, very caring, and very loving. But the reason they're serving other people is selfish. selfishness. But there's a selfless selfishness where I'm serving other people, I'm gaining benefit. So if Amiable serves other people and think, well, I'm just doing it because I'm a nice person, well, you're kind of buying into your own press releases. The reason you're doing it, honestly, is because it makes you feel good, which is not bad. Like, it's not bad to do that. We could have just an entire podcast, a longer one, on this. And so helping us realize being self-aware, helping us to be self-aware of really ourselves and our own anger. It's almost like having an out-of-body experience. Like if we become defensive and angry about something, it's because we're not dealing with something in ourselves. If we're dealing with something, like if somebody says to me, Mark, you're really angry, or you're really arrogant, I might laugh and say, well, I'm glad you met me now, because 5 years ago, if you think I'm arrogant now, you should have seen me 5 years ago. So there's some truth to it, what somebody's saying. So let's accept the truth. Let's not get angry about it. Let's accept the truth. Be curious about what people are saying about us. And then we as amiables often might use a lot of words rather than doing things. And so when other people use a lot of words rather than doing things, we might get really angry or upset. Or when people call us out on, where we're saying we're going to do stuff, but we don't do it, getting angry at other people. We're really, I think, often as an amiable, we're angry at ourselves, but we don't know how to process that anger. And so we project it onto other people, which is not healthy for them or us. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Share this with other people for sure. Have an amazing day.